That's unreal. That's nuts. Does my voice sound more normal?
uh,
Why is it not going live? There we go. Checking this up. What's up? How's everybody doing? We got checking this up. What's up?
what'd you say?
Yeah, my voice sounds normal. We got and you sound normal. All right, you tell me when you're ready to go. I think you were muted. You said something, but I couldn't hear anything.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry, I was muted.
That's
I'm
right.
ready to go.
All right. What's up, everybody? And welcome. Thank you for tapping into some Untapped Keg. Episode 50. Woo! We did it. Full year. 1 week. Every week. Posting some podcasts. I'm one of your hosts, RJ Zimmerman. Here with my brother-in-law, Monte Ball. How's it feel? How's it feel, big guy? Big 50.
I tell you what, man, it is exciting when you shared that the other day. I didn't even really realize it. Just because 2020 went by kind of fast. It's been a year already. That's pretty crazy, man. It's pretty crazy. I'm glad that we're doing this, man. I'm glad that we're doing this. But all is well on my end. How are you doing?
I'm good. Last night was a lot of fun. Anybody who didn't check it out, we streamed week 2 of the Fan Control Football League.
We did.
Week 2. It was a lot of fun. We had Nick from Knee Brace Radio on. He brought a lot of fun, fun energy, like a lot of knowledge too. That dude is tapped into a lot of football stuff that I am not. He had a lot of really good ideas too about getting players that are really good, but the product is a good product, and he enjoyed it. It was the first time he watched it. I had a lot of fun last night, and then we played some Rocket League with him and Gab from the community. How's it going, man? Thanks for playing last night. It was a lot of fun. Got some sleep, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. Got done. It took me a little bit to fall asleep because I was so jacked up. It was a really good time.
It was different, but it was awesome though. I tell you what, I did not expect for us to stream for that long.
I didn't either.
5 hours total. I think it was 5 hours total. Not expecting that at all.
I can tell you what, my wife is not happy that I'm down here streaming again.
I mean, started at 7 to stream the first FCF game, and then obviously we had to stream the next one, which they both were about an hour and a half. But now,
honestly, I think the second game was a little bit shorter. It was like an hour 10. Yeah. And what they want to shoot for is an hour every game. They're getting closer to it. It was a lot more smooth. There's a couple hiccups, but it was a lot more smooth than it was the first week. So they're learning. They're moving. They're showing they're adaptable. They're moving with, it was 1 week, and instead of both games being like an hour and a half long, I think they're both just under an hour and a half. So
right. Yeah, so didn't even expect to go that long. We streamed both of those games. Obviously, picking plays. Had Nick on from Knee Brace Radio, and then we said, screw it, let's go ahead and just start streaming some Rocket League too. And went and played some Rocket League, so it was fun. But yeah, we're gonna do more of that. That's for sure.
It was complete chaos. playing 4v4 Rocket League. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna hit this ball. Oh wait, where'd he come
It's
from? Or
ridiculous.
they come from? Where did they come from? It's like, oh my goodness. But yeah, it
It's
was a lot of
ridiculous.
fun. A lot of fun. We made it,
It was.
episode 50. Here's my question to you, sir. So this has been about a year since we started recording. It's a little bit further than a year since we started posting.
Okay.
We missed 2 episodes because of me being down in Iowa working, and we weren't really set up for the to kind of figure out how to do that when one of us was gone yet.
Right. Right.
What has been your highlight of the year of starting Untapped Keg?
What has been my highlight of the year? Wait,
Yes.
you're asking
Since starting Untapped Keg, what has been your highlight about one Untapped Keg?
Hmm. So are you asking for a specific episode, or are you just asking in general?
How in general, like what
Oh,
have your
yeah, yeah.
highlights been?
Yeah, yeah. And I think speaking in, you know, generally here, I think just our honesty here on the podcast. I think it's been actually um it's been in a sense it's felt good. It's felt really good because it seems like now on social media you're just getting a bunch of just people just shouting at each other. I'm Democrat, I'm Republican, I'm independent, um, just all the above, and it's just awesome to have now a medium where we just don't care about your political affiliation, where we just chat, we just hang out, talk about life, talk about stressors, talk about ways that we're improving ourselves, and actually laying out action items too as to how we went about improving ourselves, and just again just speaking candidly from the heart is something that is just really refreshing nowadays. So that's really been the highlight of it, man. And it's awesome that we've stuck around and been doing it for a year, uh, to really just for 2 reasons: showing people that we're really committed to this, that we really are walking the walk with everything that we're speaking about, and then two, it's just awesome, man, to obviously grow. With my brother-in-law, obviously understand more about you. You understand more about me, so it's just been just a really refreshing experience. How about yourself?
Being able, I mean, the one thing that I wanted to be when we started this was vulnerable. I wanted to be truthful. I didn't just want to talk to people like I'm some really smart philosopher guy. Like this is just stuff that I've noticed about myself. Maybe it'll help you.
Yeah.
Things that I've noticed about maybe society or that have been weighing on me. Everyone's been really receptive to it. I really hope that I don't seem like I'm too preachy a lot. I know I can get that way because I feel very, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? I have very strong opinions sometimes. And when I have strong opinions, I can get preachy. And when I feel a certain way, I feel like righteous. I feel righteous sometimes about stuff. So, yeah, I think that also just being able to talk through my emotions and start to name them and see where they come from has helped me out a lot. So I hope that's helped out the community. I really like that we've started to grow a community. What's up, Nick? I see you there. Knee Brace Radio hit 70 episodes yesterday. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Round of applause. That is fantastic. That's awesome. That's something that we've been really promoting a lot, has been celebrating. It doesn't matter what milestone, when there's something to celebrate, don't feel guilty, celebrate. It's worth it. You deserve it. You should be proud because this year was not easy for anybody. I'm really glad that we have this podcast because it's made it this year a little bit easier. It's made something for me to look forward to.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's probably why it went so fast.
Right?
Seems like because every week we had at least something to look forward to. That's just providing a different topic, a new topic, providing more insight, about our character, about our journey, and it's been one heck of a journey too, and it's awesome. I think you really touched on it too, building that community. That's a really cool part about it, and I think honestly, last night was a very very fun experience. Uh, very very fun experience. We're looking forward to doing more of that.
we're I'm gonna have to get better at when things start going wrong, figuring it out quicker. Cause man, that was but this the past 3 days have really showed that when things go wrong with Twitch, with OBS, with a lot of the stuff that's behind the scenes here, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like most of the stuff I set up based on YouTube videos. So when things go wrong, I don't necessarily remember how I did it the first time. So trying to figure out those buttons that I pushed, Discord, like trying to figure out Discord. We haven't really played around with it a lot, and it's still kind of it's different to say the least. So
Yeah. No, man, I think you did a fine job.
I appreciate that.
And again, we're growing, we're learning, and it's just one of those things where we came into this not telling you know, excuse me, we came into this telling people they were not any experts at this. We didn't go any sort of producing or what have you school to learn how to edit videos and all that crap. We're just learning as we go, which I think is a great um reflection in the sense of or symbolism in a way about our life. You know, we're just learning as we go. It's just what it is. We're
That's
just learning as
that's
we go.
so true. That's so true.
Just learning as we go, and there's going to be mistakes, and we just hope that people bear with us during our mistakes, and don't judge us because we're not sitting here acting like we're the best at this. Just growing and learning, and that's just kind of the energy that we've been putting out since the beginning, where it's everyone's just trying to learn. And I just want to say, yeah, thank you to everybody who's been following us along this journey. It's been awesome. It's it's humbling. I'll tell you that. It really is.
One thing that I've absolutely loved this past month on Twitter is we've been seeing a lot more engagement, and we've been calling out and congratulating and telling people to be
Yeah.
proud of themselves about sobriety, and we've gotten more people responding to us, telling us about their sobriety journey. It's just been that's been incredible. That's so much fun to see that. It gives me a fuzzy feeling right now just thinking about it. Like that's so cool. I know when I started, I kind of felt a little bit isolated. I kind of did it to myself though, but at the same time, I didn't trust myself. Um, so part of episode 50, we have people jumping on who are new, who are growing this community. 50 is a big number. So we thought that this would be a really great time to kind of do a little bit of a soft reboot. Tell our stories, talk about ourselves so people can get to know us a little bit better. We had, on the first of the year, we started recording video. The rest of ours are just audio format podcast. And, you know, a lot of it in between there and here, there's been a lot that's happened, right? So
Yeah.
if you don't want to catch up, we don't want you to feel like you have to catch up. So we're going to kind of talk about ourselves here, talk about why we started this podcast. And yeah, that's kind of going to be our show. We'll see how long we go, how short we can keep it, if we can keep you guys engaged. So, Monts,
Ooh.
here's the question. Untapped
Ooh.
Keg. When you first heard that name, what did you think?
The first thing that I thought about was a keg that was yet to be tapped. That's, that's honestly what I thought about, a keg that has yet to be tapped, or but obviously in the sense for our podcast or our lives, a keg that should never be tapped, because obviously we understood that alcohol cannot come with us, cannot be on our journey towards bettering ourselves. That's the reason why we wanted to start this podcast, is to share that with the rest of the world, share that for those who may be suffering in silence, provide some encouragement that it's okay if you're struggling with something, and it's okay if you feel as if the substance abuse um maybe getting a stronger grip on you, as in it's not okay to just sit there and not do anything about it, but you're not alone with that. We've provided content of how to reach out for help, how it was for us reaching out for help, how difficult it was. So back to the original question, now when I think about Untapped Keg, I think of more than just a keg that has yet to be tapped. I think of journey. It's the first word that pops in my head. Community is the next word that pops in my head, and connection. Those three words. So very different viewpoint when I think about Untapped Keg as opposed to when I thought about it at first. That made any sense.
Yeah, no, it did. It did make sense. Sometimes
So
I think you're a little hard on yourself. You make a lot more sense and a lot more good points than you give yourself credit for. So maybe that's something we'll work on in year 2.
maybe absolutely. What about yourself?
Yeah. I mean, coming up with a name is not easy. We talked to Nick from Knee Brace Radio about it last night. And, he was talking about they were looking up to see kind of, what was available. And
Right.
I really like that name. I think that name's really clever. So to come up with something that's clever, that we really want to do a podcast about sobriety. We wanted it to be serious. We wanted to be vulnerable and let people know that we feel the same way that you feel. You're not alone.
Right.
And obviously we have come to terms that a substance had control of our lives, and we accepted it as as what is a weakness, right? It's something that we can't do. And so when the first the first name we came up with was After Drunks, but that wasn't serious enough. I'm glad you talked me off of that, because it's just not serious enough for what we wanted to get into. We wanted to also keep it light and talk about our lives. So it's like, okay, we still are social creatures. We still go to we still go to bars. We still hang out with friends. We still go to events that have alcohol there, but that keg is always untapped for us. It's never there. So if we talk about Untapped Keg, that does make a lot of sense, because we were beer drinkers.
Right.
Most of the time. I mean, obviously whatever was there for alcohol we would have, but
Right.
I mean, I think both of us the bulk of our drinking happened around kegs.
Yeah.
So
and binging too.
yes. I mean,
We were binge drinkers for sure.
yes, that is exactly what I was. So, yeah, that's what I went there. And, it's come to what it's come to mean to me is just wanting to put more positivity in the world, to let people know it's okay to make mistakes. Just admit that, you weren't right. You don't have to admit that you're wrong if you're not ready to do that yet. Just admit you weren't right and there's a better answer or something like that, and grow as a person. I feel like I feel like it's only been 3 years that I've really grown, as to where I am now. And I don't think I'm where I want to be. I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to get knowledge. But for those who don't know, I'm RJ Zimmerman. I'm an alcoholic. I have been sober for 7 years, a little bit more. And this is our podcast, Untapped Keg.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. I like that. I like that reintroduction. Hey guys, my name is Monte Ball, and I do identify as someone in long-term recovery. Recovery date August 1st, 2016. And it's been one heck of a journey, man. It's been one heck of a journey. One thing I want to mention is just how, because I'm starting to see more and more people reaching out to me, reaching out to us on that Cake page, just saying based on what we've been saying, they've been really thinking about maybe needing to make some changes in their lives and stuff like that. And that's just awesome. That's awesome. And I think people who do that need to give themselves more credit, because um, it's not easy. It's not easy going through that self-reflection process. It's not. Self-reflection process, essentially what you're looking at is you're peeling back the layers yourself. It's not an easy process. It's not an easy process to admit your faults. It's not an easy process to admit your faults to your family members or to your loved ones, what have you. And then obviously not an easy process to reach out for help. Um, so it's one heck of a journey. It's a beautiful journey. And yeah, again, I'm in long-term recovery from alcohol. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I will stay a recovering alcoholic.
I one thing. So I have been a line technician for a local utility company around, in the Wisconsin area for 7 years. So right before I started my sobriety journey, I got my job. Um, so I work on high voltage power lines. So when I say I went to Iowa for work, there was a huge storm that went through Iowa. It was basically what they equated it to was either like a 30-mile wide tornado across the entire state, or like a category 5 hurricane that just came straight through the state. It was the devastation. I mean, I'm going to say the word incredible, but I mean, it was just, there were no words. Like every single tree was snapped off, but helping people, like that's where I feel I get the most joy out of, right? I'm a parent of 2 young boys. I am married to your sister. That's why you're my brother-in-law. I've dated your sister for 11 years now. It's a long time. 11, 12 years. It's been a little bit, but yeah, so that your family has seen me before I was sober and after I was sober, and a little bit in between. You saw me when I was pretty poor, couldn't make ends meet really at all. And then now, because I decided to follow this career, we
doing really well for yourself.
have a family, together. My partner and I are, holding down the fort. We own a daycare together in the Madison area, and she runs it. She does everything. Like I basically, if she needs plumbing help, I help with like the very like minimalist knowledge that I can. I usually go to like Menards or Home Depot and ask like, hey, this is what I got to do. What do I need? And then they kind of walk me through it. Or I look up on YouTube. I have done some electrical, which I actually know a lot about. So that part I feel kind of good about. But then I've also I put together all the furniture and everything. I'm like the handyman, except I'm not very handy, So that's a little bit about, so my kids are 3 and 1.5.
Yes, they are.
Tell us about yourself, Mons.
Absolutely. So, yeah, you guys. So, it was a little difficult for me after I decided to retire from the NFL to really figure out what I wanted to do. I mean, to be honest, there was a lot of changes, a lot of significant changes in my life. That being realizing that I have to get sober, and then realizing, wait, what am I gonna do? Whoa. How am I gonna make this transition into corporate America? Um, and so, long story short, after going through therapy and realizing what I need to do, and then kind of doing a significant amount of self-reflection, I understood then after a few nights of really doing some deep thought that I need to just stay into the recovery world, figure out how to help individuals who may be struggling with what I struggled with. So that's what I do today, working for an organization, the Wisconsin Voices for Recovery, where we just provide resources, help, education, connections, linkages to community members who are seeking recovery, or allies who want to help people who need recovery. Just really creating that bridge from the resources from the university community to combat the opioid crisis, and obviously any other drugs and alcohol, of course. So it's a conversation that's obviously an ongoing one. We're trying to figure out ways to continuously break down the stigma, break down those barriers that people face, and really just shed light on just providing diversity within community, or excuse me, within recovery, diversity within recovery, just so that we allow for everybody to have the same um, access to resources. So that's what I do today. I'm very passionate about it. Obviously, I can get long winded on it, but it's a beautiful journey, and it's what I want to do. But most importantly, I do have a child. I have a son who's 4, going on 5.
Going on 15.
Right? My goodness,
I don't
my
know.
goodness.
He got brains from mommy, because oh my goodness, that child is smart.
He is very smart. I do say, yeah. So his uncle, so his mom's brother. He's very, very intelligent. He's got scholarships to Notre Dame for school. So
Wow.
very, very intelligent kid.
Wow.
Um,
Good
and obviously,
lineage.
right? And so my son, yeah, he is very, very intelligent for his age. But my goodness, yeah, he's my
He's a
everything.
personality.
Mhm. He is fun. He
He's
is
a
fun, but that's
firecracker.
right. But other than that, I like to play video games. I like to really watch movies. I really like to write. I love to in the stock market a little bit, just little penny stocks. I
You
don't
like
know.
to dabble in a lot of different
Right?
things. And
Like,
one thing you really like to dabble in is conspiracy theories. So
oh,
a
don't get me
while
started.
back, we had MC Squared, which was Montz's Conspiracy Corner. And
Mm,
that was a little bit of fun. We might bring that back every few episodes to see what he has to talk about. So
we
um,
do get Perseverance
I
landed on
do
Mars,
I do love
allegedly. Allegedly.
allegedly. I do I do enjoy listening to your conspiracy theories and then like talk you out of them because they're so crazy. I remember one time you asked me, so if the earth is really flat, then or no, what was it? If it's really round, why can't you see like forever or something like that? I don't know. It was you were talking about
I
flat
don't
earth
think I
theory.
said any bull crap
And
like that.
yes you did. Yes you
simple,
did.
simple curvature of the planet debunks that. Uh, nah, but I do be thinking about some crazy stuff. Some crazy stuff. Like
I'm not saying this to demean you, by the way. I'm just trying
no,
to
no, no,
show
you're
people
fine.
we do have, it's fun. We go serious and then we try to bring it back with some light stuff.
Some
So
of my conspiracies are put me on
sometimes
a
you make me
72-hour
think to
hold.
have to debunk them, which I appreciate.
Like the other day I was thinking like, what if, that crater that hit, our planet that wiped out the dinosaurs was really us living on Mars, trying to figure out what was on this planet. But our satellite like blew up or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Dude,
But
I've heard that theory before and
have you really?
it is a thinker. I'm not gonna lie, it is a thinker.
What if we're
So
just jumping back and forth from Earth and Mars? We don't know it.
it's not it's I don't know about that, but now I mean maybe we're going home. I don't know. Trying to get back there.
We're
So
all Martians.
starting this um reboot, when it came to drinking and when I knew I had a problem, or I suspected, I should say, I had a problem. um I didn't drink like a lot of the time, but when I drank a lot, so I would go like a month or two between drinking. But when I would have over 2 drinks, I would drink all of it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and that meant if I was at the bar, I was staying till bar closed and you were throwing me out. Like, if that meant I had a 30 pack at home, I would drink a 30 pack by myself. If that meant like whatever I had, I drank until I think I cannot remember the last time that I drank before I went started on my journey
Mm.
and admitted to myself that I can't do this. I don't. I can't remember a time where I wasn't blacked out. I blacked out every single time I drank. And every single time I woke up in the morning, I thought, who do I have to apologize to now? And
Yeah.
I wanted to get serious in my relationship with my partner. There was no possible way I could get serious while I was drinking. I would, I don't know why. Sometimes I would hit on other women in front of her. Like
Mhm.
I had issues. Not that I don't anymore, but every
Yeah.
every time I got drunk, I don't know who that person was. I was embarrassed of that person. Um I would be like super needy and like sticking to people, even like I couldn't get social cues, like get away, like and that was my guy friends, that was women I had just met, like stuff like that. And it just I was a sleazeball, like absolutely was a sleazeball. I didn't want to, I couldn't continue being that person and um being healthy in my mind. Like it was a poison. it changed who I was as a person, and I did not like that person. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror and be proud of what I was looking at, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I can agree for sure with I can say something very similar. I mean, when, for me to start out, I already mentioned it. I was a binger as well too. When it was time to party, it was time to party. It was my mindset was every party was going to be the greatest party ever. That was my mindset.
Absolutely.
When meaning invite as many people as I can every single time and purchase as much alcohol as I can every single time, uh, and drink as much as I can every single time. There was no, that's why I know that I'm a binger because there was no, I couldn't control it. There was no, okay, I think I'm going to just go out for, you know, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, just to see a few people, maybe have a few drinks and Uber back home. No, it was always, okay, if I'm going to go out, uh, I ended up staying out till about, for 6 to 7, stumbling drunk somewhere, then waking up hungover somewhere I'm not familiar with. That was literally my routine. And so then obviously getting into a relationship with that same mindset, I was just toxic. I was just an extremely toxic person. And I can most definitely uh, speak on that, RJ, when you're talking about, not being able to look at yourself in the mirror. That was most definitely me. I was not a good person. I was an asshole. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I was a very arrogant prick.
Same.
Not a good person. When I was under the influence, but when I was not under the influence, I was this happy, smiley, fine person, kind of, because obviously I was still always thinking about getting drunk. But I knew that I had to make a change, though. I knew that I had to get out of that cycle. I had to do something. Obviously, winding up in jail, of course, it was eye opener for me. Like, what the hell is going on? So I knew that I had to make a change. Absolutely, and I think with that change too is eliminating some friends from your life. Whew. Um, I eliminated a lot. I'll say that. And I'm not exaggerating. RJ, I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
I may have one, two, maybe friends, and I'm very content with that. Uh, I mean, a bunch of associates, of course, but long story short, you just have to do a significant amount of cleansing, and that was what we both had to do.
Yep.
I'm very glad that we did. Very, very glad that we did. Obviously, for our children, for our families.
I uh I I was the guy who had a lot of friends, a lot of text messages asking me what I'm doing. And then when the first few times people texted me, I asked if I wanted to go have some beer. Um, that they stopped coming eventually. And I would say similarly, like some of my friendships got a little bit stronger, but a lot of them they're just a little bit more in acquaintances now, right? So I definitely agree with that. I know my first real test was I went with a couple really good friends to Brewer baseball game, and anybody who knows anything about Brewer baseball games drink a lot of beer. Um,
Smell a lot of beer
yeah.
in that stadium.
So, one of my best friends, he was there right there. Nope, he's not having anything. He doesn't want to have it. Don't ask him. Like, right there as my wingman being there. And he really helped me get through that. When I got through that experience, that kind of showed me that I can do this. I don't have to isolate myself from everybody. I can go out and still have fun and not have a beer, not have any alcohol.
Yeah.
I can just be RJ and people still might want to have fun. I can still have fun. I don't mind embarrassing myself. So that's not what I need the liquid courage for. Yeah,
Right.
I needed that alcohol because I did not have a high self-esteem. I didn't have much self-confidence.
Same.
I didn't have much self-worth. Um, I
Same.
was working. I didn't really have any jobs. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know. Um, I had no direction. I had no direction, and that made me feel really bad about myself. Um, so when I would start drinking, I would hit a certain level, and then I wanted everybody to be my friend. I wanted everybody to love me. I wanted to kind of show through other people's joy, hugs, laughter that I don't know, that I was worth something. And I still struggle with self worth. I still struggle with self esteem and self confidence. It's something that I've had my entire life. And it's not, problems don't get easier when you give up a substance.
Right.
Some ways you do make it a little bit harder on yourself. You don't have that crutch. One thing that I did, I had video games, I had stories to be able to, you know, fall into, to
Hmm.
be a little bit of an escape at times. Um, and that I still use that today. Sometimes you just need a little bit of an escape, but I have been able to kind of, I've been a lot better. So I used to hide my emotions and be as stoic, and kind of impassive as possible. And now I'm
Hmm.
trying to understand my emotions. Like when I'm angry, okay, what's making me angry? Okay, why is that making me angry? Like, what is the real reason for what I'm feeling, and trying to name that emotion, because I'm still not great at it. I'm not very good at um emotional intelligence, which we talked about a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think it's. I think what. Yeah. Exactly what you're saying is. I can most definitely relate. I can most definitely relate. It's that self esteem. For me, I lack a significant amount of self esteem. Um, which is weird because that just goes to show you that addiction unfortunately does not discriminate. Um, and because being and I'm just quoting, big man on all that, you would assume that I wouldn't have a self esteem problem, but I did, was definitely did. And that's when I would drink, it was as if I did not have to face that question. Why, what are you so self conscious about? What's going on? Uh, I was able to drown that out. So to talk about RJ, what you mentioned about how um when you get away from your substance, it does get tough. It does get tough because you're so used to, your body is familiar with, when you would get those thoughts, when you get those feelings, you can drown them out with your substance, so you don't have to face them. But obviously now, not having that numbing sensation, you have to face those emotions. You have to dig deep and try to answer those questions. You have to really do some self reflection. That again is not an easy process. Uh, those who struggle with a substance use, that being, the old Monte, the old RJ, we don't want to face that. We don't want to. Um, and that's why our substance use was there to numb that process, to numb it, a numbing entity. And now we no longer have it. So that is the tools that we talk about, guys, that you have to develop once you get away from your substance. You have to face the music. You have to face those emotions. You have to figure out how to work through them. You have to. You have to figure out why you're angry. You may be angry one day and you don't know why. It's normal. That's normal. Out of 7 days out of the week, I'm probably just annoyed and frustrated and just agitated. I think 4 out of the days, but those other three, I'm feeling great. So you just got to figure it out. What were you about to say? You about to say
um,
something?
no, that was a fantastic point. It's so true. It's so true. Going through and understanding that you need to learn how to deal with these emotions. Like I'm trying to teach my 3-year-old. Like it's okay to have big emotions. That's part of life. But what
Yeah,
you
that's a
do
good.
with them is what matters. So when you
Mm,
run away from them and you try to hide them through a substance, that's when it's not okay. Like when I think the straw came to a head, and I knew like the year coming up to when I finally started my journey. I would say that like when I woke up and I looked back at 18-year-old RJ, and I was more proud of that person than the person I was looking at the mirror in the mirror. I felt like that person, you know, they had they knew what they wanted in life. Like that person knew what they wanted in life and was going towards that. And then my self esteem and alcohol and everything got in the way, right? Like I went to college. The classes, it's not that they were hard. It was just um I I wanted to drink and have fun more. And I look back on it, I'm like, gosh, I wasted so much time. Like, just looking back in the
happens.
time that just isn't there anymore. Like my 20s, I wasted them. I absolutely wasted my 20s. And that's a regret that I have that I won't be able to get back, but you got to start somewhere. And you know, uh, if you feel like you wasted the time before, it's time to start now to make it worth it. Make it maybe not worth it, but give yourself something that you feel worthy for, right?
Mm,
It's, it's never too late to try to be a better person, try to grow. I think that's one thing that like with the community, with all of this, we're not going to cast stones. We've been there. We understand the embarrassment. We understand the shame and the frustration. We have absolutely been there. We've made so many mistakes. Not everybody's rock bottom is the same, but
right.
everybody hits it. Everybody hits it, and as long as you're growing, as long as you're trying to be a better person, even if that day you feel like you went backwards, you feel like you didn't make it, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a
Right.
normal part of life, and just wanting to take that next step. That's all that matters. And cliches cliches are somewhat based in fact, and they sometimes you look at them and you're like, that actually does it makes sense. It means something. So
Absolutely. It's for us, man. It's one of those things where we say, it's better late than never. It's a cliche, but I'm actually glad that, I wish I would have sobered up when I was 21 or 22, but sobered up when I was 25. Trying to do the math here, and it's still better late than never because now my child doesn't have to see that Monte. Your sons don't have to see that RJ.
yeah.
Uh, so that's an important part. And then I kind of want to touch on something you mentioned earlier, where it's can't remember what you said, but what popped in my head, and I want to share this with people is, to those who may be questioning, maybe in that purgatory state of, do I have a problem with it? Do I not? I don't know. I'm consuming as much as everybody else. I don't. Those are all questions that we all go through, and I guess the main question that you should be asking yourself is, are you using it to make yourself feel better? And that's just it. Do you feel better about yourself? Do you feel better emotionally when you were under the influence than you do when you're sober? That's the question you got to ask yourself. And only you know the answer to that. Only you know the answer to that. So I wanted to share that because I know that when I was going through the process, I was maybe I don't have a problem. Yeah, I don't think I have a problem. I can go this long without drinking, or maybe I do. I even need to stop drinking? I don't know if I. Everyone asks themselves that question, and that's just really the question you have to be asking yourself: is, are you using it to feel better about yourself? Do you feel better? And if you are, then that's when you really need to start diving deeper and figuring out a way to escape from it, kind of creating your escape plan. And that's an important thing right there.
Absolutely is. And that's, one thing too, we both have been to therapy, go to therapy. Um, you know, mental health is as important. That was funny. Mental health is as important as physical health. So if your mind isn't right, your body's not necessarily going to be right. Like, we talk about holistic approaches. So if you have or are thinking about giving up a substance, like one thing you have to understand is, you got to fill that time. You got to find a hobby because boredom is going to lead you back. Boredom's going to take you away from the journey. And, we don't want to make it end all be all, right? Like, if you leave your journey, if you go somewhere else, if you take a detour, if you fall off the wagon, have a drink, you're not a complete and total failure. It's just you just start walking again. Start walking again.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I think I'm so glad you brought that up because that's such a great point. Some people and a lot of people, I mean me early on, you really get sucked into you really want a big number of sober days. That's what you want. Like 30 days, yes. 90 days, yes. 365 days, yes. Now let's see if I can get, it's you want to see a big number. Like I've been sober for that long. Although that is awesome, to even break it down for hours. I've been sober for X amount of hours. The point about getting sober is realizing what you can't take with you for the rest of your life. That is what it is. Not the number, although the number is important. It is important. Why we do make posts and celebrate with folks about it. But I don't want people to get just sucked into that number. And this is for those who relapse, those who may accidentally take a step backwards in a way. It's not necessarily a step backwards, but falling off the wagon. You can get back on because you still know that the goal is to be buried on the journey of sobriety. That is what it is. Is that making any sense there?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want for people to be kicking themselves in the butt if they have 365 days and then they have a drink or use or what have you. Now they're back at zero. And that is, discouraging. Oh my God, I got to start. It's good to count the days, but it's the best thing about sobriety. The best thing about the recovery journey is understanding that's just what it is. So I wanted to share that for those who may be kicking themselves in the butt for relapsing or what have you. No, that's not the goal. Of course, you don't want to relapse, but it happens. It happens. But just understand that the entire goal is just understand that you are on the recovery journey. You are in recovery when you say you are. That's just what it is.
And one thing that I want to touch on there too is it takes a couple starts and stops. Like I knew before I really started my journey that I had a problem and I would not drink for like months in between. And then I'd be like, you know what? I think this time I can have 3 beers and tell myself I can stop. You know what? I think I can go out for a few hours with the guys, have a couple drinks. I won't go drink for drink with them. And this time I'll be able to cut myself off. Like it takes time to come to terms that no, it's just not for me. It was probably honestly more than a year of me going through that and realizing I have an issue. And then people around you too. Yeah, people around you too will be like, "Oh, you can do this. Come on." Like, no, you're giving yourself too much grief. Like, you're better than that. There's nothing about being better than or more than, or it doesn't make you less than.
That's what kills me is, and this is such a great topic.
It's
RJ,
not a character flaw.
It's what kills me, and this is what people have to deal with too. You're gonna have to deal with this if you hop on the recovery journey. Again, it's a process that you're gonna have to work through. And then when you get to that point, you're going to get to that fork in the road where you're gonna get on the right path. You're gonna take the right turn, but some of your friends can't come with you. That's just what it is. They can't. They cannot, guys. Some of them can't because of exactly what RJ just stated. You will have some people who will be like, "Oh, you're fine. I never saw you really being a big of a problem, man. Everyone's just acting out and doing crazy stuff and this and that." And that's what kills me is people are selfish. People are selfish. The individual making those statements are just missing out on the party side of you, the clown side of you, the person who
The
puts on the red
sideshow.
nose, the sideshow. Yeah, they're just missing out on that, which is a selfish thing. You know, and that's what you really got to think about. This person is saying all that stuff because they just want for me to party, drink, do drugs or what have you with them, and because it's fun to them. And that's just what the process that you're gonna have to go through, guys. You're gonna have to face that, where you're going to have to head down your path, and you cannot bring some of your friends with you. That's just what it is. Period. You will face that.
And if you're on the journey, just starting again, like here's something that we say a lot that I think is completely true. And it's a selfish decision you have to make. You can't make this decision because of anybody else. You can't make it because of kids, partner, like trying to impress somebody. It has to be about yourself and wanting to get healthy. And if you, let's say you decide that you want to cut back on a substance and you're able to do it at a healthy level, like good for you. That's getting, that's starting a journey as well. Like making it so that you are healthier, being a healthier person. You don't have to be completely abstinent from that to make a healthier choice and be better. But it's something you have to do for yourself. Even if you do it for kids, even if you do it for somebody you're with, a partner, it's not going to stick. It's not going to last. If you make it for yourself to make yourself a better person, to whatever reason you do it for, if you look in the mirror and you're not proud of the person you are, and part of it is because of the substance that you're using, because of what you're doing, it's time possibly to make a change with that substance. And when you make that change for yourself, it sticks with you. You start that journey, and you're more likely to stay with that journey than doing it for somebody else.
Absolutely. Good point. Very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. We most definitely were harping on harping on that early on, because that is a huge point. Most people right now would assume that we got sober, we hopped on the recovery journey for our sons. And no, we didn't. We did it for ourselves, but obviously by us being the individual who's in recovery, our sons now can reap the rewards, the benefits of having, a happier father, uh, a father who's building a recovery community around him. Uh, I'm saying it all just goes hand in hand, but it starts with you doing it for yourself, uh, because no one deserves it more than you. Period. That's just what it is in your life. No one deserves it more than you.
It's
Um,
the
and don't
most
let that. Yeah,
selfish decision that you can
yeah,
make, because everybody around you is going to reap the benefits for sure.
absolutely. And don't let anybody take it away from you. That's one thing that is yours. Period. Because it's all about you. Your recovery is all about you. Um, how are you going to better yourself? And then once you get to a point, just like what RJ and I are doing, now we're helping other people to realize if they need to step away from it, or what have you, if they have any questions that they would like our insight on. Um, but you're still, in a sense, you're building that community, but it's also helping you. It's
It's
helping you.
it's a lot easier when you go through not feeling alone. And that's what I hope that we have given people, and we've gotten some feedback, that we have let people know they're not alone, that they're going through some of the similar um, feelings that we have.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
maybe some similar stages. And that's another thing. Like, we're trying to build a community. We're not just trying to talk at you. We want to talk with you. We want you to give us feedback. You send us a message on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We get back to you always. We will always interact. It may not be immediately. YouTube comments. We try to keep up with it, but also, like, we're two amateurs. This is something that we're passionate about and we really want to do. We're trying to figure out how to do this better so that you get the product that you deserve. But we're also trying to, we have careers, we have kids, we have other obligations. So we're also trying to juggle all that. So there might be a couple hours, maybe a day in between, but we will always get back to you. And we love to hear from you. We love to hear anything. Whatever you want to talk about, send it to us. Let us know your days that you've been sober. We'll celebrate with you. Like, there's no gatekeeping here. Right. If it's day one, congratulations. Right. You did it. You did it for that one day.
Yeah.
That 24 hours, it may have seemed like a tall mountain, and maybe it's a Saturday or it's a week or whatever it is. Like,
you got to start somewhere.
We
all had to start there
to celebrate yourself.
Yeah, we all had to start there. So it's a beautiful journey. A beautiful journey. Yeah.
And
that was good. That was good.
I really love it when you get into it and you start talking about beautiful journey, because you think about, you could tell that you're thinking and believing, and I really like seeing that. So
appreciate that, man. Same for you, man. I honestly would not be in the position I'm in right now if it weren't for you, my sisters, and my parents. I know for a fact all you guys know that, so I don't need to keep beating that dead horse. You guys for sure know that. So,
I mean, the reason that gave me this idea to do this is when you and I were out in the golf course, your first few months to a year of starting your journey, and I'd been on mine for a couple of years, and just talking about it. And it's like, yeah, we relate. So, like, I want to do a podcast because I listen to podcasts a lot. I don't listen to the radio anymore. I don't like the ads. And yes, people are going to laugh because there's ads in podcasts, but you get like 40 minutes of content before you get ads, and you can skip it. Radio, you can't. So I like it's probably been almost 10 years. I stopped listening to radio a lot, so I don't listen to music much anymore, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. So one of the people I listened to a lot was Chris Hardwick, and he's sober for 20-ish years, I think. And I loved hearing his stories, especially when I first started out. And his stories I related with them. It made me not feel alone. It made me have a sense of community, and made me feel like I'm not abnormal. Like, it's normal. Yes. And I wanted to create that. And I wanted to create something more around being sober and not necessarily other things. And then sobriety is there too, because sobriety weaves itself into everything. It really does. And all aspects. So that's why I want to start a podcast, and I kind of talked you into it. And then
I'm glad you did.
This is kind of where we are, episode 50. I mean, this is exciting. I wanted to blow it out for 50 because 50 is a big number, and
I haven't done since retiring from the NFL. I would say this is a hobby / this activity. I'm trying to think of another activity / hobby that I've done for a year straight since retiring. I don't think there is one. I mean, I'm not counting video games, of course. That doesn't count. I'm not counting watching movies. That doesn't count. I mean, although it's a hobby, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
right, you kind of do that in your free time, kind of thing, not like structured. Yes.
Well,
like going out of your way to doing it.
It's pretty awesome. that is a year, and it came up quick. I didn't even know until you. I didn't even know until you posted it. I was like, "Whoa!" Like, I guess so. God dang, we're almost done with
Yeah.
February. so, so it's been awesome, man. And I guess now, since the last part of our episodes, we always talk about video games. So I know that for those who, this is our soft reboot. We're huge into video games. Got a God of War shirt right there. We've been talking a lot, guys, about. So when we started this, um, there was, the announcement of The Last of Us 2 was coming out. We started this in obviously around this time last year, and The Last of Us 2 came out in June of
Yeah.
last year, middle of June last
I'll
year. I
look
think
it. I'll
June
look it up to
16th.
verify, but I believe you are correct.
I think June 16th or June 19th. No, not it didn't come out on 19th. June 16th, I believe. But long story short, we talked a lot about that game to build up for Last of Us 2 because obviously Last of Us, the first one came out in 2013, RJ, right?
Yeah.
2013, and so we're looking at a 7-year span between the first one and the second one, and we talked about that video game a lot. And now, obviously, for the gamers out there, that that's the most awarded video game of all time. So it lived up to its hype, that's for sure. So, and we talked about God of War. RJ has been pushing for me to play that. Still have yet to beat it, but I will. I told him a little secret. I told him last episode, I believe. So I'm a little too afraid to play more of God of War because I don't want another video game. I don't want a video game to be better than Last of Us series.
And then I had to
And
push you to play Last of Us, and
did.
you, as soon as you did, you played it
Did.
right before The Last of Us Part 2 came out. We started the podcast and you hadn't played it. And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
beat it in like a week, and that's all you wanted to talk about for like
That's
4
right.
straight episodes was The Last of Us.
I forgot. I did.
Yeah,
I did not
yeah.
beat the first one yet, and then I beat it. And yeah, I started Last of Us, the first one, in 2018.
Yeah, I believe because I told you.
playing.
Yeah, I had to push you to play that too.
I playing for like 2 years, and then got back to playing it, and then actually got past the part that I needed help on. But I was doing it wrong. I was doing it wrong because I was thinking I needed to do something else instead of just obviously just doing what I needed to do. But long story short, I ended up beating it and loved it, freaking loved it.
And then the second one came out, and that game lived up to expectations. It was the sequel we didn't know we needed.
Yeah,
and honestly, we needed it. We needed to continue that story. We needed to see it. We didn't know we needed it.
I hope they keep it going. I do. Some people say no, you don't need to.
I don't.
I think they can.
That's how I felt after the first one, though, and they blew me away. As long as they have a story, because Neil Druckmann, one of the writers of Last of Us and creative director, said that he had the story for Last of Us Part 2 immediately after the first one ended. So if he still has that story, I want to hear it. I want to see those because they also did the Uncharted series, if people don't know. These are all Sony PlayStation exclusives. So PS4, PS3, PS5. One great thing about the PS5 is if you're lucky enough to get your hands on a PS5, you sign up for PlayStation Plus, which is $60 a year. You get 20 games for free that you can download and play at any time. And one of them is The Last of Us, and another one is God of War, which God of War 2018, it was a soft reboot similarly to what we're kind of doing here, and that game blew my mind. You go from somebody who's just angry, wants to punch and beat everybody up. They were fun games, cool set pieces, dragged on a little bit too long in my opinion. Every single one of them did. And then God of War 2018 comes out, and I could not get enough of that game. The characters, Kratos, I love Kratos now. I was kind of indifferent to him before. Like, the games were fun, but it was super button mashy. They completely changed the combat. Like, it's so much fun. And you'll find that out as you get deeper. Like, there's so much cool and interesting things that they did with that game to make it fresh, to make it new. And I'm actually gearing up to play it through again. Because I watched you play it and I'm like, I need to play this again. And so it's they just had a PS5 next gen update, so it looks even better. And I'm lucky enough to have a PS5. I had the game anyway, but I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to that. It's gonna be really cool. One, I love Bloodborne. Bloodborne's one of my favorite games of all time. It's right up there with God of War because the gameplay's so good. The gameplay is so fantastic. You got to push yourself to beat that first boss. Once you beat the first boss, you get it. You get it. And if it's not the first boss, it's the second. You do get it. But it takes a little bit. And it's not that it's hard. It's that everything has a consequence. Everything has a reason. And that's like the consequences will be if you aggro, get too aggressive and just try to beat something, even like the smallest enemy can kill you. That's the consequences. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's hard. It's just you're gonna die a lot. It's what's gonna happen. There's nothing wrong with that in video games, right? So, you just gotta be it. Just because I die doesn't mean I'm bad at the game. That's not how it is, So, just because it's just like life. Just because you fail doesn't mean that you're bad at life. It just means you gotta take another step forward. You gotta try again. Get back on the horse. It's like trying to teach my 3-year-old son.
You either succeed or you learn. You either win or you learn.
That's what I said. I've always said there's 2 choices. You either win or you try again.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, yeah, you don't want to play a video game where it's too easy. You don't want to play a video game where it doesn't really require
Well,
much
sometimes you do.
concentration.
Sometimes you do.
I'm talking. Well, I guess. Good point. Let me be more specific there. Video games like the ones you're mentioning, like we're mentioning Bloodborne, Last of Us, God of War. You don't want that to be a breeze through kind of game. You want some difficulty. You want some thought provoking scenes, etc. Just because that's the beauty about where we're getting into with video games. This new movement with video games is completely different than what it was, let's just say 5 years ago. Say actually about 10 years ago. Completely different world we're getting into. Extremely interactive, and it's a good time to be getting into video games right now. It really is. It really is.
Absolutely. And yeah, there's just so much cool stuff going around the medium. It's growing. Kind of how TV did, like all of a sudden it's starting to, really speed up, and the stories you're starting to see are stories you would get from books, except instead of reading them on a page and imagining them, like you are doing the actions. And sometimes they can force you to do an action you may not want to do, but you still feel that like you're picking it. And it really makes you learn a little bit about yourself too, and how you feel when things are going. So the first time I played Last of Us, I didn't really feel what I was supposed to feel. I played it a second time, and after hearing how other people handled the game, like I felt even more emotions. Like, before that game, I kind of played games to beat them. I didn't really I loved little story, right? I love story bits. I loved like little side stories that were put into the environment, but I didn't pay attention to like small cues. I didn't pay attention to music in the background. I didn't pay attention to, I was more focused on the gameplay than maybe I was on side stories and stuff like that. Last of Us changed the way that I pay attention to that stuff now. So like my favorite game series of all time for sure is Mass Effect. And we're getting a remake soon. And I was super pumped. I never played Andromeda. I saw the trailer. Made me so excited. I went in and I'm playing Andromeda right now. And it's a fun game. I really like it. I wish they pared it down. I wish it didn't have so much filler. I don't have enough time to put in 100 hours to a game.
That's ridiculous.
All the time. So it's a really long game. But part of it is that I do all the side quests and everything generally. Witcher 3, I did not. I did as many as I could. And then I'm like, no, I just need to beat this. So, that game as well, that story hit me in the feels all the way through. There's 3 of them, the first 3 with Commander Shepard, and that is really good. And I enjoy Andromeda a lot. I like the story. I like what they did. So there are some things that I don't get completely how they mesh up in the same universe, because I think they took some liberties, but You there, Mons?
Yeah, where'd I go?
I don't know.
Oh, there I am.
There we
Boom.
go. So
I clicked the
that's
button. That was actually my
that's something
fault,
that's
actually.
coming up too. So what else you got here? What else you got?
Yeah. Rocket League.
That was fun.
I want to
last
get back.
night.
I want to get back into Apex. I want to get back into Apex.
Trying that. We've been
I wanna
playing
get back
Rainbow
into
Six
Apex.
Siege. I really
Rainbow
like
Six, that's really
Rainbow
cool.
Six. It's just so different, and it's a slower pace. It's a lot of twitchy. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. You understand, you get
Right.
shot, you're dead. Like that's what's gonna happen.
Right.
So, yeah, I like that different operators, like what they bring. It's cool. A lot of laughter because we don't take it too serious.
Right.
It probably took me 4 years to understand that I don't have the time to put into video games that I used to, so I'm not going to be good. I may not even be average, and that's okay. It's okay. I'm still going to get frustrated every once in a while if I'm beating my head against that wall, but I'm not going to be frustrated if I'm just not good anymore. And that is what it is.
Yeah. It's because we just don't have that time. We don't have that time to put a
Mhm.
significant amount of hours, and because we appreciate, um, the ninjas of the world who are really really great at. I'm just talking about their gameplay, the way that they play video games, because they're really good at video games, and we respect it because that takes a significant amount of time, concentration, etc. And we just we don't have that time to really put into video games, so we just play just to obviously we want to be good at it, but yeah, not going to bang our heads up against the wall if we're not the best at it. We just want to continuously just touch on this community, creating the community, expanding it.
Absolutely. So, with that, I think we're winding down a little bit. Shout out to Bradley playing some Rocket League with us from the community last night. Hit us up on Twitter. We brought him in. It was a lot of fun. You can do that too. I mean, we want to grow this community. That includes playing games. We may not be streaming when we play, but we'll hang out. Shoot us a message. Twitter at Untapped Keg. Facebook Untapped Keg. We have an Untapped Keg community there. Talk about anything. Talk about whatever's going on in your life. Instagram is a great way to keep up. Untapped Keg. We got Untapped Keg everywhere. We got really lucky. Untapped Keg was not taken. We want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from everybody. Like it's really fun hearing from all of you. We actually called someone who was at 100 days, and we celebrated with them, and we talked about it, and we didn't just lay it out like it's easy. Like it's not. It's a journey. It's a growth process, and we kind of we're truthful about that. We want to be true. We want to be true to you. We want to be true to ourselves. Thank you everybody who has been there from the start. Thank you everybody who's been there along the way, and thank you for joining us now. Like, that's the thing is, it doesn't matter. We're not going to gatekeep. Doors are open. Join us at any time. Have fun. That's what we want. We want fun. We want positivity. And we want growth. Make a mistake. Absolutely. That's okay. Just be willing to admit it. Like, don't double down. Don't dig your feet in the sand. That's why we are with a lot of anger in the world right now. It's okay to make mistakes. Let's spread the positivity, spread the joy, and don't be afraid to tell people you love them. So, told that to my friend the other day, and he was kind of taken aback, and it's true, right? And my brother and I used to not say it to each other, but we say it to each other all the time now. So, let's keep the positivity rolling. So we have Discord, Reddit, Untapped Keg on all of that. We try to stay up on Discord. We're amateurs trying to learn all of this stuff. We're getting better every week. Sometimes there's a little bit of a backslide, but we also have a sports podcast where we talk about Fan Control Football League. We talk about a little bit about soccer, a lot of NFL, a lot of NCAA football. But yeah, we really appreciate everybody joining us. Where can they find you, Monts?
You guys can find me at Monteball28 on Twitter, Monteball on Instagram, and again, our Untapped Keg pages as well. We're looking forward to reading your guys' questions, topics, what have you that you guys send us and will send us. And we most definitely appreciate everybody who's tuning in. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. You find me at It's Trickster ITZ. The I in Trickster is a 1. You know, I wanna thank another TV viewer, A10, Commander Root, Electrical Longboard, FTO Payer. I'm probably not saying that right. I'm sorry. Go with him. Il Dalara and Rubber Slayer. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. This has been episode 50. Thank you.
Still 50.
Here's the 50 more. And let's try to be better tomorrow than we were today. Because at least if we don't make it, we tried. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.